When I was in second grade, my parents got my younger sister and I our very first puppy for Christmas. This came as a huge surprise to everyone because my parents did not enjoy animals very much at the time, but we were all ecstatic. Unfortunately, however, our puppy died just a few short years later from being sick after a lot of effort from our vet and my family to get him well. He passed because of careless breeding habits, and we were all devastated. My family now only adopts our animals from shelters after this terrible experience we all went through together. We have saved a new puppy, Bobby, this past Christmas from heartworms and being put down because we adopted instead of shopped this time around. Each year, thousands and thousands of animals are given to shelters because they can either no longer be cared for by their owners, are lost, or have been abandoned. According to the Ouachita Parish Animal Shelter, about 6,000 dogs and cats were taken into the shelter in the past year 2016 alone. Unfortunately, only about 22% of those animals were adopted, and only 10% were reclaimed by their owners. This means that around 4,000 animals were put down in the town I live in last year alone. This issue not only affects our area, however, but it also affects shelters all over the country. So just imagine the large number of animals that were put down because they weren't adopted this past year. Therefore, it's vitally important and more logical to adopt pets and not shop for them. Because of the large number of available pets in shelters, it makes one really wonder why breeding and shopping for animals is still so largely popular today when it makes so much more sense to adopt them instead. Adopting your pet decreases the number that are homeless, or worse, euthanized each year. According to humanesociety.org, every year 2.7 million dogs and cats are put down in the United States. Because a lot of pets are coming into the shelters, but not a lot of people think of adoption when getting an animal. If more people would consider adoption as their number one option when getting a pet, these numbers would decrease tremendously. The SPCA.com website also claimed that after adopting, you're making more room for other animals that are in the shelter. You're giving more second chances to these animals. The shelter can then better care for them with the available space and resources. There's also several cost benefits to getting a pet from the shelter. After reading about adoption benefits online, PETA.org gave some extremely important thoughts. Most shelters cover the spaying and neutering expenses, the vet vaccination expenses, and the animals are typically already house trained. This means that you're saving money and carpet that you would be spending on potty training them. You can also adopt a pet right here in Ruston for a very affordable price. The website fourpawsrescueinc.org claims that it's only $100 to adopt a dog right here in town, not too far from campus. Also, Sean Carmody from lcanimal.org informs readers that you can save a ton of money adopting a shelter dog because they don't have the vet expenses that typically come from getting a dog from a breeder that gets sick so much. If learning these facts about shelters and pet adoption does not convince you to stop shopping for your animals, learning about the terrible breeding conditions they go through will only further push you. Most animal breeders do not use safe or sanitary practices while breeding their animals. An article by Bert Stoop on animalfreedom.org claims that dog breeders typically use a form of breeding called line breeding. He claimed that unfortunately this type of breeding is inbreeding. They do this so that a dog owner can get a dog with the look of their choice, but almost always these dogs are plagued with disease, pain, and don't live very long. Puppy mills are another huge problem in the dog breeding world. An article on thedogfiles.com claims that many puppies sold in common pet stores today are a result of puppy mills. These mills breed dogs cheaply and quick to get more money from them. Therefore, many dogs end up with a disorder without their pet owner even knowing. A story by C.D. Watson at Petful.com claimed that a dog, a golden retriever named Max, was once used for breeding at a puppy mill that was recently raided. He was then rescued and adopted, but unfortunately most of the damage was already done for Max. He was extremely sick, had 2 dislocated hips because of the small size of the cage he was kept in, and had many other broken bones. His owner tried her best to bring him back to good health, but because of the terrible environment he was stuck in at the puppy mill, he had to be put down just shortly after. Stories like Max's are not very uncommon in the animal breeding world. Shopping for your pets is only giving money to these businesses that treat animals so poorly. Overall, the breeding of cats and dogs is only adding to the overall population issue that both of these animals face because of the already packed shelters today. Interestingly enough, according to Corinne Hen at onegreenplanet.org, about 25% of the animals that are currently residing in a shelter are already of purebred descent. If a purebred animal is something that you're interested in, you can still find them with adoption without having to shop for one. With this information about the desperate situations at shelters all over the country and the cruelty of animal breeders, one should be inspired to always adopt their animals from now on. Doing so can help decrease the animal population overall, save an animal's life, and take away from the businesses that are treating animals so poorly all over the country and treating animals just like Max so badly. When you adopt a pet, you're getting a furry friend that did nothing to deserve being abandoned, lost, or left in a shelter. This should encourage everyone to stop shopping for your animals and to adopt from local shelters who need your help and the available space and resources that are given when you adopt a pet. If you're currently looking for a pet, there are tons of local shelters with information online so you can go out and adopt and not shop for your new best friend today.